would like to welcome Mr. Morris Day. What's up?
Hey, what's up? What time is it?
Yes,
Thank you
sir. Thank
so
you
much.
so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So make
This
sure everybody knows that that was, Morris's song Lil Mo Funk featuring Snoop Dogg. So just to start that off, since we played that song, how did you hook up with Snoop Dogg?
Well, Snoop, years ago, maybe 15 years ago, and it could be more, we were sitting around, me and all the fellas in the time, and we were working on some music, maybe 20 plus years ago. It was a while ago. But anyway, with Snoop got on the conference call with us, and, he said, I'm the 8th member of the time. And, I'll never forget that. And, some years later, I had sent a song over, to him. This is within the last maybe 6 years. I sent a song over to him. And, I said, man, I want you to be on this. He said, well, I'd love to do something with you. But, he said, I want to, collaborate, and I want to be a part of the production and executive produce, actually. And so, he invited me over to the Dog Pound, and, we got together and started working on some music, and, we put a lot of things together, and ever since then we've been tight.
Well, it's a dope song. I can so see Snoop like that's definitely his vibe for real.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I did a little research. So you went to high school with Prince, correct?
Well, see,
is that correct?
The research is it's vague, but
it is vague. That's why.
In other words, Heather, you ain't do no good research.
Yeah, no, well, the sources, it's the sources. I'm sure you took the resource down properly, but no, anyway, he went to Central, which was on South Side Minneapolis, and I went to North High, which was on North Side, but we both lived on the North Side. But once we got the band together, we may as well have gone to school together because we rehearsed every day, and we just lived and breathed our music, and that's how we did it.
Man, so I know you play multiple instruments, but and when you were in school, did you actually have an aspiration of being a musician, or is it just something that just happened because you guys kind of, met each other?
Music has been in my blood, and somebody's dad, with a James Brown T-shirt on right there, I was inspired, by that man so much. I remember doing the James Brown when I was about 5, 6 years old, doing the splits, running around in my Fruit of the Looms, doing the James Brown. And, he was just a huge inspiration in my life. Prince is like all of our lives, but he really, all of his drummers, Can't Stand Myself, I can't. I mean, all of those songs just they just inspired me. I waited for everything that he ever put out, and he's one of the big reasons why I'm sitting here today doing what I do.
Wow.
Yeah. I got the feeling, the grooves. I just can't imagine what headspace they were in to come up with those grooves. It's unimaginable.
Man, it's first of all, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall in some of those sessions for sure.
Yeah.
But I tell you, growing up with him as a dad, I can only imagine. Because I got my fair share and then some that y'all probably wouldn't dare want. Heather knows. Heather used to dance for dad, so she got some of that as a dad too. As a father-daughter relationship. Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. When's the last time that you, before unfortunately his untimely passing, when was the last time that you saw him prior to that?
Well, ironically, it was 2 months before he passed. And we were like brothers, so brothers fight, and we had been on and off, and he had left me hanging a few times where he said, I want you to be on the show. So I fly my band and my people in, and he'd be like, I changed my mind. I'm like, oh, you changed your mind? Well, we got flights, we got hotels, what about the money? And, then his people come in, well, Prince said, no, we can't help you. So long story short, not to take it to a negative space, but next time, a few years later, he called me or his people called me and they said, Prince really wants you to do a show at Paisley Park. And I said, well, that's cool. I said, but he's got to send me the money up front. And I knew that would just pretty much put an end to that scenario. But lo and behold, I looked up and the money was sitting in the account. And I said, okay.
See?
I said, okay, this brother's serious this time.
Right.
So, me and the fellas, packed up and went to Paisley Park, and he was happy to see me. I was happy to see him. We got to talk a little bit. We did the show, he was partying and having a good time. And after the show, I'm going down the dark hallway at Paisley Park. And, he comes out of the shadows, clapping his hands like this. Deep voice is like, bravo, bravo. And, and it was just like a scene out of a movie. But anyway, we went back.
Well, see, you knew him. That would have freaked me out a little bit. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I knew that's how he rolled. It has to be a dramatic entrance, So, we went and chopped it up. We talked. A few other people were there. His sister Tyka, and 10 of us maybe. And so I'm leaving, and the brother gave me a hug, and he's like, "I love you." And I had never heard him say that before. So that just struck me like, it took me out of the moment and then back into the moment, because I was like, that's kind of different. And then sure enough, 2 months later, that was it.
Wow.
But it's in the book.
So that's what I was getting ready to ask, because
yeah, let me zoom it in. Yeah, look at that.
What made you want to decide to write a book about your life?
I pretty much think everybody wants to chronicle their life in a book. Everybody says I should write a book, and I think I've said that, and I've kind of been, on that page before, no pun intended. But then when the opportunity came around, my manager, Courtney Benson, was like, we should write a book. And he said, I know this writer, David Ritz, and he's interested in doing a book with you. And my first thought was, because I'm not a workaholic, I like my playtime, I like my work time, and I like to just, make it all balance out. Mm-hmm. So my first thought was, this is too much of a time commitment. Writing a book, I'm gonna have to look at somebody every day for months. And finally we talked about it. I thought about it. I said, this is a good time for me to do it. A good juncture in my life. And I feel like I have a story to tell. So, David.
You think?
So David and I started, we started light on the phone. He came down to my house in Florida. We sat up and we did weeks of getting together and hashing it out. And he came out on the road. I mean, everything. And it wasn't as painful as I thought. The only painful part about it was actually going down that road again, going down that journey again. A lot of it was painful. But aside from that, it was a good experience. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad to be able to say that I did it. And, so it was cool.
But wasn't going back down that path cathartic? Because like I wrote a book, My Father, James Brown and Me, I wrote a book, but it really wasn't meant to be about Dad, but because he is my dad, it included him, obviously, right? And everybody wants to hear about it. But I'm just talking about the process that I went through and the stories that I told. Yeah. It was like healing. It was so good.
Yeah, it is therapeutic, and it's a good point. My book wasn't, at first it wasn't supposed to be necessarily about Prince, because I was like, well, but it just, I'm like, how could I get around it? And so, David and I came up with what I think is a clever way to have Prince have his voice over my shoulder, just about everything I said, so, I thought that was cool, but it was very therapeutic at the end of the day. But at times it was difficult, I'm sure you can identify, because there's stuff that you probably, didn't think about and probably didn't really want to think about again, and, that's what it was like for me.
I'm sure people can identify with that though, so I'll be sure to get it and read it.
Oh, cool, cool.
With that being said, because biopics are all the rage,
Yeah,
right now.
yeah.
It's so funny because people inbox me and they're like, "When are you guys going to do a movie about your dad?" I'm like, "It's coming, it's coming." But with that being said, because I feel like it's just when you're the person living that life and it's your life, like you are. It's funny to hear you speak about her father, James Brown, and what
Yeah.
that meant to you musically. And
I have to tell you something about your father too. So go ahead and then we'll get to that.
Well, I mean, but I think the thing is that your music was like part of me, my high school, like, you know, growing up, like that was, and you are etched in music history. Even though I'm not sure if you realize, I think a lot of times when you're living that life, you're just doing what you love and that's just your life. And so to me, it's definitely fitting for a biopic. And with that being said, who do you think would be a great Morris Day?
Well, you know, we've been talking about that because, you know, we're definitely planning on taking this to the big screen. We talked about Alan Maldonado. We talked about Christian Keys. We talked about Donald Glover, you know, who once said, you know, out with Snoop, he's like, man, you know, I would love to play Morris, you know. So, you know, I don't even know, you know, who would make a good Morris Day. You know, I might just have to do it myself.
Right.
But
you sound like something Daddy would say. I just do it myself. they can get Eddie or somebody to play the young me, but them older years, I got that. Don't even worry about that.
Right. Yeah, can't nobody do me like me.
Right.
But you know, to be honest, you know, I would like to see somebody else do it. But you know, those are just a few of the names that we tossed around. But you know, I'm kind of open. You know, I'm sure that right personality. You know, I mean, and those candidates, those brothers I mentioned are good candidates, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we'll cross that bridge, you know, when we get to it.
Well, how do you feel about that though? People thinking about doing a biopic while you're still alive, because you know, most times we talk about it later on, but I see more and more people are being involved in their telling their story while they're alive.
I think it's a cool idea because, you know, it'll still be around after I'm gone. That's a given. Right. But, you know, it's good to be able to have the input of the person that you're portraying, you know, as opposed to having to go to a family or an estate. And a lot of times the families are like, no, they didn't do it right, you know, and you know, in this case, you know, we're going to make sure it's right.
Sounds good.
Well, I can't wait for it to come out to see it, because I think that, I mean, I like the fact ultimately that some of these biopics are done while people are still here to talk about, and sometimes they have those things where they really talk about their personal experience and how it's portrayed. And so, and I think it'll be hugely popular for sure, because again, that's just a part of lots of people's lives where that music really, really meant something. You know what I mean? And I think it's really important to tell that story, especially for Black music. And with that being said, you know, they're having this thing right now where they have verses on who do you think, who would you want to do a verses with you?
Well, or would you do a verses?
Yeah, let's ask that first. Yeah.
Well, you know, I probably wouldn't, but you know, if I did, I gotta go big. You know, I'm calling Bruno out. You know, and you know, just so we can, you know, because he's a very talented brother, and you know, I just think, you know, his style and, you know, some of the way that he's portrayed himself in his music, you know, I think he's, you know, he's seen me a time or two.
I mean, with that, you can tell by the music. It's definitely, you know what I mean? Like, but I mean, it's what all musicians should do. Like, I don't think they should outright steal, but everybody's inspired by somebody. You know what I mean? So obviously you inspired a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, make that clear.
So
that's
Bruno,
very and I like Bruno Mars. That's I would want to see that verse.
Hey, Bruno's awesome. But I want to tell you this story before we wrap it up. Now, you know the story about your dad and my band, right?
No.
Who's that?
We talking Isaac Hayes now.
Oh no.
No. See, this is really ironic that you know the inspiration your father, and do you know? It looked like
no, I don't.
Okay, well, I'm gonna tell you. And before I start, I'm gonna tell you, it's in the book. So you should read it because there's some things relating to your father in my book, and both of your fathers in my book. And so anyway.
Tell me what the name of the book is.
Oh, it's On Time, A Princely Life in Funk by Morris Day and David Ritz.
Okay, then y'all heard it.
Okay, so anyway, your dad, Grand Central was our band. We were the baddest band in Minneapolis. We were kids, 14, 15 years old, 16 maybe. And my mother managed us. And she was sending out tapes everywhere. And your dad happened to like the demo tape. So he invited my mom out to Memphis to talk about maybe helping get a record deal. And, you know, she talked, she came back, she was all excited. And, you know, nothing ever came of it, but he definitely knew of us, and he definitely knew of us. And he had an opportunity to sign us before, you know, we all did what we did. But so,
well,
you know.
Well, he was walking around doing the bird, just so you know. Like, I'd be like, please don't do that interfere with me. Like, you have aged out of that.
He was at the house talking about.
Yes. And I'm like, you be like, time.
I wonder if he even connected the dots that Grand Central band was me and Prince and Andre Simone, all of us in the same band.
He was a music lover, so he definitely would have connected those dots. There's no doubt about it. Like, he's very specific about people, you know, musicians that he liked. Yeah. Like I said, you were one, the Neville Brothers. Like, so I can specifically call some people out. Of course, Prince, Michael Jackson, things like that. So, yeah, he loved, like Erykah Badu, Call Tyrone. He used to sing that song all the time. So it's very specific things. So he loved the bird, and he looked horrible doing it, but
oh well. Well, the reason why I wonder is because none of our names individually were on, you know, it was us as a band, Grand Central. It didn't say Prince, Morris, Andre Simone, just say Grand Central. So I'm just wondering, you know, if he ever connected the dots that he could have signed us first.
I know. I wish he was here to be like, Dad, what was you doing? You missed the boat on that one. But of course,
you know, he would make up some story. It wouldn't be, you know, he ain't going to admit to messing that up.
All right. But I mean, things happen the way they're supposed to happen, and you guys were hugely successful and still are. So I mean, things work out the way that they're supposed, you know, to work out. So. But tell everybody before you get out of here where they can find you on social media.
Before you go, we have a mutual friends, Terry and Steve Ewing.
Yes.
Terry is one of
Ewing, Atlanta.
Yeah. So I've seen you over their house several times, but I just wanted to say that. Shout out to Steve and Terry and Wakeford. Go ahead.
Cool.
So give everybody your social media handle and let everybody know what the name of your book is again. Yeah,
it's On Time, A Princely Life in Funk by Morris Day and David Ritz again.
Again.
Lovely cover.
I love it.
You can get it at all of the bookstores, you know, you can get it on Amazon and you know, whatever the other names of these bookstores are, but you know, it's available. It's out there.
I need that book, and I need that background that you got right there. Cause
what time is it?
I love it. Classic. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me.
I hope that when COVID goes away, and if you do a concert, me and Yana can come, because I will definitely be doing it.
Yes.
Sure. All right. Love your music. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And we're going to go out, guys, with another single, his new single called Head Rush by Morris Day.
Oh, wow.
We'll be back, guys. Thank you, Morris. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.